We'll start as we did in the previous workshop. 5 pins arranged around our foam tube, top and bottom about 1 inch between the top and the bottom ones, numbered 1 to 5, and I use a spare pin to hold the end of the cord. If we check our written instructions, we'll go from pin 1 at the top around pin 2 at the bottom, from pin 2 at the bottom to pin 4 at the top, 4 at the top, down to 5 at the bottom, now 5 from the bottom to 2 at the top, and this time we have to go over a cord that we've already tied, from 2 at the top to 3 at the bottom, going over, 3 at the bottom to 5 at the top, going over again, 5 at the top to 1 at the bottom, going over again. Now from 1 at the bottom to 3 at the top, we've got to come across 2 previously tied cords. We've got to go under the first and over the second. That takes us to pin 3 at the top. From 3 at the top to 4 at the bottom, again 2 cords that we've already tied we need to go past. We go under the first and over the second. As I say, these are in your written instructions from workshop 2, so you should be okay with that. And finally we've got to go from 4 at the bottom to 1 at the top. We'll go under the first cord and over the second. That takes us back to the beginning. And now it's simply a case of following the cord round again from pin 1. Go underneath the one that's already tied and keep it snug against the cord that you're following. It should all remain fairly smooth, and at the bottom you'll actually go underneath the first pass, if you like, just to stop our cord getting twisted or crossing over where we don't want it to. And we follow this all the way round until we get back to pin 1. Now something that I really ought to have done after I've done the first pass, and that is to check that each of my crossings alternates. I go from under, over, under, over. I shouldn't come across anywhere in my Turk's head where I've gone over 2 or under 2. They must alternate. If I've made a mistake here, I'll have to untie it and start again, which is why it's probably best to do it after the first pass, because the second pass, after all, you're just following the cords that you've already tied. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the bottom set of pins. I could slide this off now to flatten it, but I'm going to remove the bottom pins so that I can just tighten things up a little bit before I slide everything off the tube. Just means there's a little less work to do later on. Don't over tighten it. In fact, you don't have to tighten it at all at this stage, but I just think it makes life a little easier when we take it off. Now I'm going to remove all the other pins, ready to slide my Turk's head off the tube. Including the one that was holding down the end. Slide it off and flatten it gently. Before I start following the lead round again, I've just got to tidy things up a bit. Take out a bit of the slack. I try to make it a bit more even, and this is one of the important things about decorative knot tying. Don't rush. Do things gently. So I'm tightening this up just a little bit at a time, making sure that I keep it smooth. And this part is not smooth because you can see where I've not followed the lead round properly, I've actually crossed where I shouldn't. I'm reasonably happy with that now, so I'm going to follow the lead round again. So I'll have actually gone round 3 times, and again, do this gently. Make sure you follow the lead properly, maintaining the over, under sequence. It takes time. Patience is very important at this stage. Don't rush. Okay, I've been round 3 times now. Got to try and even things up a bit, and because I've now got 3 leads going all the way around, I really have to be careful that I don't go crossing things over where I don't want them to. Obviously the structure of the knot is there, so we've got the overs and unders we need there, but don't cross leads that are supposed to be following each other. Okay, that's not too bad. As we said in the previous workshop, if we're making a coaster, that hole in the middle could be a lot bigger, but because we're making a poppy, we need that hole in the middle to be reasonably small. Trim the ends underneath and melt them, glue them to the underside so that they're not visible when the poppies face up, and we're nearly there. A quick look at 3 options for the centre of the poppy. The first one's the easiest one. Just take 2 or 3 inches of your black cord, coil it up, melt the end, and there's your centre. You could use a black button actually if you wanted, it would be just as good. The second option is a button knot. I'll provide you with links to video to make a button knot if you fancy that. That is a bit more difficult than the first option, of course. And the final option really is not for the faint-hearted. It's quite a tricky one, this, and there are a lot of established knot tyers struggle with this one. A single strand star knot. Again, numerous videos on the internet, on YouTube, I'll give you a link or two in the workshop documents. But anyway, there's the poppy. Glue the end underneath, put a pin badge on, whatever. Thanks for watching.